Hello, evil slime. Give me a second. How are you doing? I hope Satoko would be there when I woke up that morning. I hope this baffling world was just half awake, was just a half-awake dream of mine. So when I awoke, not to a familiar ceiling. Oh, my bad. What do you mean cat? Look at me. I'm not a cat. Once it opens and shows up. Look, I'm not a cat. You were actually wrong about something. It was 11 episodes, not 12 for promise. Anyway, just wanted to let you know. Oh, yeah. Look. Yeah. Yeah, Dinah, I was talking with Ortheo about how yesterday I went on a rant about Promise Neverland. And he actually corrected me on a couple things. For one, the slideshow at the 6-second slideshow at the very end wasn't actually covering 20 chapters. It was covering actually 40 to 50 chapters at a minimum. My bad. My mind hazy, I recall the situation I've been put into. Thanks to my own carelessness, I'd gotten lost in this strange world. Hanyu's power couldn't reach here, so it would be incredibly difficult to escape. It was like trying to climb up the spider's thread to paradise. But the spider's thread was still there. No matter how thin it was, its presence meant there was still a chance. The Discover was blocking Hanyu's power. Nipa or some shit, nice. I don't even know what it looked like. The only possible clue was that Hanyu was the deity of Hinamizawa, so it was probably in the village somewhere. I picked up the crystal ball, which I'd snuck out of the ritual implement storehouse. The ball gave up a weak and somehow unnatural light. How was everyone's day today? I pressed it to my forehead and I could sense a faint presence that only I, as a witch, could feel. I was sure that whatever I needed to find, I would get the same feeling from it as this. But again, like the crystal ball, I'd probably have to hold it to my forehead to sense anything. It didn't seem like things would be as simple as wandering about until I felt something. But if it was related to Hanyu's power, like the crystal ball was, it was almost certainly in that storehouse. Unfortunately, the storehouse was a complete mess of everything, from ancient torture devices, to piles of old documents, to mountains of trash I didn't even know how to use. The only place with any semblance of cleanliness was the space around the vessel and the altar. Finding anything, especially an object as small as this crystal ball, would be no simple matter. I heard my mother's voice from the kitchen. The school in this world wasn't the only one I went to. If I had the time to go somewhere I didn't belong, then I should be using it to search the storehouse. But there's no proof my search would only take 1 or 2 days. I really hated to say it, but since I didn't even know what it looked like, maybe I needed to prepare myself for the search to take years. If I didn't go to school, Chie, ever conscientious, would call the house to see if I was staying home that day. If that happened, it would cause trouble with both the school and my parents. I couldn't imagine how much time the search would take. If my parents grew suspicious, things would get harder. Slow and steady wins the race, I guess. Although it was frustrating, for weekdays it would be better to pretend I was going to school like normal. I let out a languid sigh, got up, and decided to eat breakfast. Things I want to convey. Stetai koto. During mealtime, my mother's ramblings about how I was never allowed to go into the ritual storehouse again steadily made the food taste worse. My mother mother was always insistent and long-winded. I hated this part of her. The elders in the village laughed and said she couldn't help it since she did it for her only beloved daughter, but to me she was just a nuisance. Today was cool. Nice. What was today? Self-love wasn't what I needed at the moment. The only thing I could be thankful for was maybe that I didn't have to make breakfast for myself. I'm almost done with Azumanga. Let's go. Let's go. How many more? Yeah, how much more again? That's kind of what I did. Okay. After I was done eating and started getting ready for school, my mother continued to nag me about making it on time. 1.5 episodes. Big! How aggravating. Maybe going to school wasn't so bad. I wouldn't have to see my mother's face for half a day. I thanked her for the food, cleaned my plate and utensils in the sink, and left immediately for school. What about me? So, for some reason, even though I went to sleep early last night, I slept for like 12 hours. And then I kind of got on and then worked more on my video for a bit. And played some Slay the Spire. And then now I'm I'm here streaming. If everyone was going to betray my expectations anyway, I wish class would too. Mr. Koala. What does that mean? But even in this world, class went the exact same way as the world I knew. I thought I'd escaped that world, and now it was repeating. Thinking that way made me feel even more listless. Normally, I distract myself by teasing Satsuko, but her seat was far away from mine. Because you slept so much? Yeah, I guess. Because, like, okay, no. So, I can't remember what I went to sleep, right? Like, let's say 2. And then I, like, got up from, like, a nightmare 1 hour later. Because I checked the time. I was like, what time is it? It was 3 a.m. So, it was like, I only slept for about an hour. And it's because I don't even know what the dream was. But I specifically remember that I woke up thinking, like, rats were eating me. Like, while I was alive. And I got, like, I woke up and I thought they were, like, still eating my neck or whatever. And I, like, yeah, I just had to, like, once I collected myself, I just had to go back to sleep. But I don't know if that was what made me, like, because I didn't stay awake for long. I probably went to sleep, like, soon after, like, maybe 10 minutes, like, probably not even that long, maybe, like, 5 minutes after. But, like, I don't know why, I just slept so much. Yeah, yeah, I know. Yeah. She was probably also so bored with class that she didn't know what to do with herself. Some dreams you feel so real, you question if it's still going on. I mean, I told you, right, about the nightmare I had when I was, like, younger. And, like, you know, I imagine or not even younger, like in high school, my leg, like, got amputated, and I woke up, and, like, that leg that got amputated in my dream was, like, spazzing out, like, on my bed, IRL. So I was, like, very, yeah, it, like, calmed down a bit, and then, like, after I realized that I still have my leg, and I don't need to freak out, but yeah. Question of the day, would you rather beat 100-year-olds for 100K, or 10-foot buff dudes for 10 million? Well, I think if we're taking this question for, like, real, right? I don't like trying to gamify questions too much, because I think, like, you know, at the end of the day, it's meant to be fun. I think you should take the 100-year-olds, because you can probably actually beat them, rather than 10-foot buff dudes. Like, you have a better chance of beating the 100-year-olds. It says you got it. Yeah, exactly. So choose the 100-year-olds. Exactly. That's what I was thinking. I've had zombie apocalypse dreams, and as soon as I wake up, I look out the window. Yeah, no, I mean, there's a lot of times I have dreams, like, you know, a lot of realistic, like, I had a dream where my mom and sister died in a plane crash, and for the longest time, I thought they were, like, for the longest time on that day, I thought they were dead, but then I woke, like, I went downstairs, and then they were still there. Because, like, I couldn't imagine if this was, like, real or fake, like, with what happened. Like, it was so surreal to me. Like, I didn't know what was going on. I don't think, if they're still 100-year-old, I don't think that does make a difference. Satoshi, earnestly studying in the next seat over, was constantly trying to get her to focus. Mion seemed to be butting into Reina's business too, but they weren't fooling around. It was a strange, though pleasant sight. They were helping one another. Hey, Ruben, how's it going? Yes, we are in Saikoroshi. We are, doing the epilogue. How's everyone doing? How are you doing, Z? How are you doing, Hamburger? How are you doing, Ruben? I mean, especially you, Ruben, because I know, you know, have you been discharged from the hospital yet, or not yet? I had a dream where I accidentally fed our family dog a lethal amount of chocolate, but utterly horrible, and when I woke up, I saw her okay. I sat by her cat. Yeah, I mean, you know, it kind of reminds me. So when I was in France last year, I was eating some chocolate cake, and then, like, a good chunk of that chocolate cake fell on the floor, and there was a dog that kept, like, going over and trying to eat it. And then, like, you know, like, the owner kept holding the dog back or whatever, kept holding him back. But then the owner, right, like her boyfriend or husband or whatever came over and then gave the husband the dog. And then, like, I stopped focusing for a while, and then they leave. And then I look back down, like, 5 minutes later and realized the piece of chocolate cake was gone, meaning that the dog ate the chocolate cake. I hope nothing bad ever happened to that dog. Because if so, I would literally be responsible for killing somebody's dog. Yeah, I'm doing well now. I was discharged last Friday, been at home since then. Nice, Ruben. I'm happy to hear that. I'm happy to hear that. I had a dream. What was your dream, Ruben? I'm sure they're fine. I really hope so. Actually, they weren't the only pleasant sight. Everyone in the classroom was like that. Is that called for a cinema cat moment? Z had the dream. You had a dream, Z. You have a dream. We all have a dream. I had a dream where Surplus was spamming you with Umi spoilers. Would Surplus do that? I felt like I was the only one left out. I didn't know whether my seat was in its own row because of the odd number of students, or if I'd chosen the seat on purpose in this world, but it felt like my seat was separated from the rest of the classroom. When lunchtime came, I felt even more alienated. Where one day we can have, where we are judged by the color of our skin, by the context of our character. Okay, Hamburger, getting historical and philosophical at the same time. My classmates formed groups with friends and took out their food. The club members who would always eat with me weren't here. Satoko was part of a circle of 7 friends, including her brother. There was no place for me to wedge myself into. Mion and Dana were sitting face to face as they ate. No room for me there either. And nobody asked me if I wanted to eat with them. And they had fun eating their own meals, so this all seemed natural, like it was something that happened every day. For a short while I waited hoping for Satoko or Mion or Reina to invite me over. After the clock's minutes had moved 5, and then 10 pieces, I realized I might even be left behind in eating. And finally I gave up and opened my bento box. To be honest, all my dreams are disturbing. In what way, Z? What do you think of the Chapter 8 finale? I think it's a good way I think it's the best way it could have ended. You know? Like, I mean, it is the most perfect world. So I think, like, you know, as I talked about with Dionea, it is a bit goofy, but I think some of the goofiness is necessary because it's meant to be the perfect world. Some things are kind of meant to be goofy because things are meant to go correctly, I guess. That's the idea. Every single aspect? Well, what's one of the dreams that you have recently? Surplus had a dream where there's a crazy cannibal going around killing people, and Satoko was killed in front of Satoshi, and he just didn't care. Maybe he had Hinamizawa syndrome during that time, and he thought that Satoko was evil. That could be a case. Spinach wrapped with gooey nori, and the remains of kinpira with chopped burdock root, also burned. I guess I'd forgotten about that. For some reason, my mother overcooked everything. Summer is dangerous if you don't let the heat in was a favorite phrase of hers. She would cook steaks until they were rock hard, and even when she made fish, she turned half their insides to ash. Even Satsuko was better than that. At least she knew how hot to cook things. When I learned how to cook from honey and started to make things better than my mother, she must have not been happy. Maybe, but it was his family and strange guys and those two for whatever reason. That is funny, though. It's funny that it's also not Umineko characters, considering that's the thing that he'll be reading right now. Ruben, if there's also anything you want to ask about particular, you know, about the Chapter 8 finale, you're more than welcome to ask, you know, because I don't know exactly what you would be looking for. There's his family and strange guys and those two for... Yeah, I'm surprised that it would be, as well, Higurashi characters, not Umineko characters, Dionea, considering, like, he is reading Umineko right now. Random characters show up in my dreams. I think usually family members show up in my dreams. Even family members that I haven't, like, talked with for, like, a long, long time. Or, like, you know, like, don't talk with that often. For some reason, they show up in dreams, and I don't know why. It tasted terrible, too. No presentation, either. If Mion decided to have a bento contest, and I only had this, I'd end up in last place. I wasn't a fan of the goofy tone of the finale, and concept I understood it just wasn't... No, I think that's fair. I think that's fair. And I think that's what Diana and I talked about a lot, that, like, a lot of people don't like it, but, you know, people understand why it's like that. But I don't know how else you could have done the finale, you know? Like, what way could you have approached it? A long, long time since I've joined stream. Welcome, Chunky. No worries, no worries. Always welcome at any time. How are you doing? But there was no club in Swirl, so I didn't have to worry about that. Satoko's happy laughter not being directed at me made me feel so sad. Suddenly, our eyes met. Please get through. Satsuko burst out of her seat and glared at me.
さっきからジロジロと何見てんのよ。何か文句あんなら直接言ったら？文句なんかないです。
やめなよ、さとこ。たまたま目があっただけじゃないか。
たまたまじゃないもん。ずーっとジロジロ見てんの。気持ち悪いったらありゃしない。
Natsuko and her friends began whispering amongst themselves while looking at me. I couldn't hear what they said, but I can easily imagine them enjoying themselves.
ジロジロ見ないです。そうしてよね。
Dude, so why is man, Satsuko such a jerk, dude. I returned from my Genshin Impact quest. Cough, cough, I played Genshin Impact for 3 months straight. And how was that experience, Chunky? I think the fragments was really cool though, being able to, because I don't think you were there for any of chapter 8, Ruben. So like, I think the fragments was really interesting, being able to put together the fragments and all that stuff. I think that was interesting. Like, I like that a lot. I think that was my favorite part of chapter 8, like having, doing stuff. Great, nice. How far did you get in Genshin? Did you, like, catch up all the way? I played Genshin when it first released. So, like, there's only, like, Mondstadt and Liyue. And then there wasn't anything else. So, like, I haven't played anything of Genshin since then. I think the goofiness ruined any tension. The antagonist secret government group being made into a joke didn't sit well for me. That is true. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. That, like, like, the entire thing that they were, like, Keiichi and, or, like, just Mion and whoever it was able to outsmart the Mountain Dogs, so that, I could understand how that was maybe a bit much, but I guess, like, maybe in that world you could see them as being incompetent. Takano and the Frag, yeah, Takano's backstory is really great. I'm currently in the new region. What's the new region? One of my dreams, woke up in a field that's filled with tall grass. Saw myself bloody and wastes filled with cuts. Huh. What do you think? I mean, usually people are able to say, like, dreams have some meaning to them, right? What, like, do you have any possible interpretation, Z, what that dream could mean for you? What did you think of the Takano resolution? I think it was a pretty good resolution for her, because technically Takano in that world had not done anything bad. Even though she wanted to do something, nothing was actually bad. She didn't even do the thing that she initially wanted to do, which was kill Tomitake, right? So technically she didn't do anything bad. So I think that actually, because she didn't do anything bad and could not be a scapegoat because Tomitake came in and saved her, I think that's great. So Nomura kind of had to deal with the consequences herself, which we don't know what that led to, but I can't imagine it would end up good for her. Yeah, don't worry about it, Chunky. Z is just telling about one of his dreams.
せっかくのクリームコロッケの味が落ちちゃうもん。
I see, Z, I see. I angled my desk a little so I couldn't see Satoko and the others. At first I'd call this world Satoko cold, but it looks like I was mistaken. This world Satoko either didn't like me or outright hated me. The other kids close to my age seemed to form a community around her, with no place for me in it. To this day, we still don't know who Nomura is. What do you mean you, like, still don't... Oh, like who she is overall in the story? Has Yukishi said that he's gonna purposely keep it vague or anything? Or what? Sorry to hear that, Z. No, all you can do, I guess, is look towards the future and try to improve yourself. Improve it yourself and look for the good in things. That is, like, the only thing I guess you can do. Also, I'm playing Roll a Dice for a Femboy Baddie on Roblox. I've definitely played those Roll a Baddie games. I don't know why there's so many, like, baddie games in Roblox in general. Like, why is this the new trend? I was driving with my cat in the backseat. I realized I'm a dog and wake up. That is one of the dreams of all time, Chunky. That is a really funny dream. Like, I like it. It's like you realize, like, you didn't see that you were a dog for some time. It's like you realized you were a dog for a bit. Well, Nomura, as far as I know, hasn't been in a When They Cry title since. I see. Maybe she was meant to show up in Sakonia and just they never he never finished it. How far into this chapter are we in? What's the current situation? So we've passed the first day, and Rika entered she apparently died in the car crash, which we learned from Hanyu later on. She's kind of exploring the world. She was in class. Satoko doesn't like her for some reason. Satoko said sorry for hitting her with the ball. Rika went home with Urena. And she entered the ritual storehouse, talked to Hanyu in the crystal ball, and her father came in and yelled at her for entering the ritual storehouse, and it's the next day, and we're at school right now, and that's where we're at. Maybe she is in Sakonia? I don't know. We will see. We will see. I'm doing drugs? What? What drugs are you doing, Shunky? The hardened ash, steak tasted like salt. Why did I have to feel sad and lonely when I ate? Melatonin. I mean, I guess that's a type of drug. Yeah, that's true. Why are you taking melatonin, though, at 5 a.m. your time? In all of the other worlds, all the club members would be enjoying lunch together. Satsuko would be there, and then Mion and Keiichi, everyone would be having fun and spending their break cheerfully and noisily. That was when Dana came in and peered into my bento box. How do you know it's 5 a.m. here? Well, it's about the time when, I could put together context clues unless you move countries at the same time zone. I remember before you would, always say that you have to turn on your lights and flashbang yourself. So, I know that's around 5 a.m. there. This guy's memory is absurd. I don't think my memory is that crazy. I think Ruben, right now, I think his time is 4 or 5 p.m. Something around there. It was clear that Dana had come over to try and comfort my distress, and for some reason, that was frustrating, so I didn't want to answer her. Close just after 3 p.m. Okay, there you go. Yeah, because I know my stream is somewhere around, because you always say that, you're gonna go, when you leave stream, that's when it's, around 5 p.m. when you go for dinner. So, I guess, yeah, 3 p.m. makes sense since I started stream, recently. You'll memorize stuff I said, 8 months ago and act like it's yesterday? Yeah, but then I also forget, things easily. You know, I really don't think my memory is that good. I remember things 8 months ago because sometimes I just, I don't know, I just remember things, for no reason. I don't know. I just remember things for no reason. Sometimes I just forget things that, people told me yesterday. It just kind of happens. You would know better than me. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have always said my memory is good, but I've never thought my memory was that good. Chat, I'm scared. What are you scared about, Z? Reino trying to be as nice as I ate lunch alone. Hated by my classmates, I couldn't accept it. I suddenly said I was going to wash my hands, then left. And in a bathroom stall, I covered my face with toilet paper and cried. I have to talk to a girl again! You got this, Z. I believe in you. The tears soaked through the paper and crinkled it up, but I didn't care. This was fine. It was better if I didn't have any friends in this world. Well, Z, I mean, you're doing better than me. The only girls I talk to are through Twitch chat. So, I can't really help you. And I guess Discord chat as well. I just had the most vivid ass stream yesterday. I was laying in bed, Markiplier appeared, he said, hello, I'm Markiplier today, we're watching, and then he just disappears and turns into Minecraft Steve. I punch him, and then he turns into Minecraft Steven, but as a cat. And then he bit me, and I woke up with my can Chunky on my face. Or your cat on your face. Is it sort of like the Shrek is love, Shrek is life thing? Is that kind of what happened? I mean, you talked to your mom too. Yeah, that's true. And I talked to my sister as well, I guess. So I guess that counts. And then I talked to my aunts sometimes. And I talked to my cousins, occasionally. So there's that. There, even Satoko is my irreplaceable best friend, and all the club members who would never leave me alone during lunch hour were waiting for me. Why would I be sad that some Satoko I didn't know was being mean to me in a world that I didn't care about? Why would I be... But despite the lies I told myself, I couldn't stop crying for a while. I decided to seal my resolve and wait for school to end. Then I'd run back home, say I was going out to play, and sneak into the Ritual Implement storehouse again. That was the only way I could get back to my original world. I had to try and do my best for that purpose alone. Okay. I looked into the mirror in the bathroom to see a face red from crying. If Chie saw me like this, things would probably get even more complicated. I washed my face and spent the rest of lunch break quietly in a corner of the classroom. Damn, this is so depressing. I think, like, I just haven't talked to, like, a lot of my friend group and stuff. I was never able to, like, I guess, get close to women whatsoever. Like, it's not that I was, like, afraid of talking with them or anything. It's just the way my friend groups, like, kind of, fell together. The people who I was close to just, like, nobody happened to be a woman. It just happened like that. Is Higurashi depressing as the standard? Yeah, but this is depressing on a different level. This is isolation. This is not self-isolating off of you going crazy. You know, this is not like at least having people to rely on. This is having no one in your life that cares about you. You're literally, like, Rika has lived literally hundreds of years, maybe 100 years, decades at least. And she has no one to rely on. She is completely alone. And the only, not completely alone, she has Hanyu, but that's only a disembodied voice. Before she at least had Hanyu in every other world. This is the first time that she doesn't have Hanyu. At least one person to talk to, at least one person to rely on. I think Satoshi called after me, but I ignored him. He was probably just trying to apologize for his sister about what happened during lunch. I didn't care about that. I didn't want to stay in this horrible world a second more than I needed to. They're not... Exactly, yeah. It's not the same at all. I ran full speed back to the house, ignored my mother when she asked, as usual, if I had any homework, and searched for a lantern. Then I told her I was going out to play, and without waiting for a response, burst out of the house. Then I went around the shrine and looked for my father. I saw a note hanging on the assembly hall that said there was a Shrine Association meeting. I could hear my father's voice amidst the lighthearted chatter. It was the same opportunity I had yesterday. Today I'd have to be careful not to let on that I was inside. After making sure nobody was looking, I climbed up the tree I'd gotten the hang of yesterday. I have a cat, 6 chickens, 50 fish guppies, and shrimp. Mostly a... Or what do you mean mostly? A TV, a PS4 Pro, Legos, a Pokemon shrine, a stash of melatonin gummies, 3 chairs, and a katana I bought at the limited edition, the Amazing Digital Circus Finale hoodie. Those are all your prized possessions? I calculated how many kills Takano would have across all timelines. And what was the number you landed on? After making, yeah. I had been scared of the height before, but I wasn't afraid any longer. Probably because I'd cried my eyes out and resolved myself during lunch. Well, about 2,000 deaths per Rika death, assuming she dies 100 times specifically. Oh, well, that's fair. That is true, Ruben. That is true. What I really had to be afraid of wasn't heights, or my parents. Or the cold-hearted Satoko. It was not being able to return to my original world. Oh, wait, what? Are those all your prized possessions? The next scariest thing would be losing contact with Hanyu, I think. In the darkness of the storehouse, I took the crystal ball out of my pocket. Its weak glow seemed a little more energetic than yesterday. Maybe if she rested, a little of her power would come back. Nevertheless, it was still weak. Yes. 6 chickens is crazy, though. How'd you end up taking care of 6 chickens? 200k at least. And in the only timeline, like, and every single other timeline, Takano is used as a scapegoat Like, you know, like she gets those 2,000 kills and it's not even like anything good happens afterwards to her. She either like gets killed or is like probably imprisoned for life, used as a scapegoat for Nomura and a stepping stone for her. That's probably what would happen. It's crazy lore. I'm willing to hear. I'm allergic to eggs, but anyway. Well, it's just eating eggs, I'm assuming. I don't think touching eggs lead to any allergic reaction, I would think. I don't think we know how many times she's died specifically. Yeah, she's always said about 100. Nevertheless, it was still weak. If I wasted on fruitless conversation, the light might go out entirely. I firmly squashed down the desire to check to make sure I could still call her and turned on the lantern. It was time to go treasure hunting. Was there anything around? Anything only I could feel? Something that felt the same as his crystal ball. Somewhere. I closed my eyes, honed my senses, and hoped. But all I heard were the cries of the cicadas. I hadn't expected anything else. It looked like this would be a tough nut to crack. Searching the entire storehouse. How much time would that take? I didn't want to imagine it, but I had to do it or I couldn't go home. All of Takuno's efforts and she just dies, is in prison, and Hinoizo syndrome research is buried. All for nothing. Yeah! It's literally worse than when her grandfather was researching it. Because at least, like, someone might come along and find it later on. But with the research being, like, just hidden away and, like, everything being destroyed, it's like there's not even a single thing that you can say that goes well. I guess twice because Vika killed herself the second time that happened. That is also true, Diana. Yeah, that is also true. Actually, yeah. When Dika kills herself, what happens? We never know what happens. Because I always assumed that, oh yeah, no, they were just say that, like, it just leads to the village dying anyway. But no, that doesn't make sense. Tuno, I'm hungry and bored. Why'd you change your name to Bluesy? The disaster doesn't happen in 2 and 5. Yeah, but like, what happens though? That is like a very... Pretty sure the story doesn't imply the disaster doesn't happen in those worlds. Huh. Okay. It did in 1, we just didn't live long enough to see it. Yeah, that makes sense. I do it systematically. Start in the corner and go in order. Without knowing what it looked like, I start in the corner and go from there, not even letting water pass. And despite all that, I had no proof it was even in here. Are you gonna eat, Z, like 100 sausages like you did before? I thought you were playing Spin a Femboy Baddie. What happened to that, Z? I felt like it would be easier to just fight Takano and the Mountain Dogs again. It's daytime again? Okay. This time it's not sausages. What is it then? It's bread! Playing sausages while playing Spin a Femboy Baddie sounds big. It seems very correlated to each other as well. Based on what we know about Takano, she probably crashed out the same way she did in Chapter 8 when she found out Rika died, then Tokyo packed up and left. Yeah, that's fair. Okay, that's good. Want some chickens? And me being like, what the hell? Yeah, I went to this guy's ranch. The guy's name is so I got chickens and went to him, reflecting on what so I named them to chicken nuggets, like dino nuggets, chicken finger, etc. And built a house for the chickens, and now we're here. Huh. So you just trusted the random guy that came up to you and said, "Hey, you want some chickens?" And you kind of just like you just kind of went with it, and you were like, you just completely trusted this guy, even when he took you to his random ranch, like in the middle of nowhere, and it was just you two, and you were just like, "Yeah, no, this is fine. He's gonna just give me chickens." You didn't think that he was gonna like murder you and like I have crazy lore and no survival instinct. Yeah, I mean, you know what? At least you got the chickens, I guess. Yuria probably still continued researching the last 3 years for the cure. I don't know what Takano did. She probably succumbed to the Hinamizo syndrome. That's fair. That's fair.
こんな無駄話は不要ね。
いいえ、
Yeah, the guy. I mean, great then.
無駄話も必要と思いますです。
かもね。ありがとう。
So, but he gave you 6 chickens, or did he just give you like 2? And then they just made 4, like you now have 4 chickens.
こちらから話すわね。細工伝を自分なりに散々漁ったつもり。でもさっぱりだわ。
Why was he giving out chickens in the first place? Did he just have too many?
1週間くらいは探してみたつもりだけど。
Oh damn, it's been a week?
探しているものの形が
So
わ
it's
か
been
ら
a
ないんだ
week
もん。
since then.
仮に見つけていたとしても私は気づかずに放置しているかもしれない。
Right now I'm naked, half naked eating toast while watching a stream. You get to be a huge bum. That's honestly why, like, I'm not in a rush to get, like, you know, because, like, I mean, some people, like, want to be in a relationship more than others. But for me, it's like, the way I see it, when you have a relationship, it's like, you have to put a lot of time into the relationship. And it's like, yeah, it's time that you want to spend, right? But it's time you spend on the relationship, not doing other things. So that's why, like, you know, like, that's part of the reason why it's like, I'm not really caring too much about being in a relationship, you know? That's the idea.
正直辛いわ。
I've dated 2 people and I kind of suck. Yeah, I mean, it depends on the person. Some people really want a relationship, and
形だけでも分かれば
people like me, you know, I don't really care that much about it.
あるいは細工伝の中にあるという保証でもあれば。
2 people? I remember there was 1 person, Diane. I don't remember who the second person was.
ずっとここに閉じこもっていると頭がどうにかなってしまいそうよ。
わかります。とても辛い探し物だと思いますです。
Well, I dated this girl for like 1 week in middle school. That hard. Oh, I see. Okay, okay.
せめてかけらの姿
The
が
one
わ
I
から
know
ない
is
か
about the dude
いろいろ
online, right?
頑張ってますのです。
それで何か分かった？
かけらは理科の世界では思いと解釈されていますのです。その思いが何かに宿る形でかけらとなっているのです。
理屈はわかるけどだからって何のヒントにもならないわね。
The other was online. Yeah.
それからそのかけらをこちらの世界に戻す方法なのですが
I still to this day don't know if I've ever gone on like a date. Like, there's one instance that I can think of where I may have gone on a date, but I don't even know if that was a date or not. I'm like, at the time, I didn't think of it as a date, but as I think about it more, maybe it like actually was a date. But like, all it was like me, like the girl, it's like she was a family friend, and she was like a couple years older than me. And she invited me to go to the like anime cafe. And I was just like, you know, my parents were like, you know, I told my parents and they were like treating it as a date. They're like, oh, remember, you need to pay for and like whatever. I was like, it's not a date. It's not a date. I told, like, you know, like she, like, you know, we went to the anime cafe and then we kind of like just, it was like near this kind of marina area. So we kind of just walked around like from, let's say, evening to nighttime and just talked and just chilled. And then after that, she just went home and then I went home. I didn't think of it as I never thought of it as a date. Yeah, that definitely was a date, lol. Really? Then I'm really bad at like replying to messages from people. I would like, after messaging and everything, I like, you know, like after going that day, we never like really talked that much again. Anyway, the only date I know is a fruit. Well, I enjoy dates, the fruit. I think, like, you know, is it a fruit? Does it count as a fruit? But yeah, I mean, I enjoy those. I like those. I went to France last week. Oh, yes, I remember you went to France. Yes, or you were going to France. In the ocean camper and me being a menace just buys a sailboat and a fishing rod, so I went to the fishing and accidentally hook a fish. I thought it was a sunfish, so when I pull it up as an octopus, damn! I mean, yeah, I don't think it's good to be catching octopi, right? Like, I don't think... I mean, I guess some people do, right? And some people eat it, but, like, I guess I don't know how endangered octopi are as a whole, as a species, or it's good to catch them. I don't know. Tuno talking about women? Chunky drops the most crazy-ass lore. Well, I'm talking about how I didn't know if it was a date or not. The only other time I went on a date, quote unquote, was a girl asked me to like this like high school like dance, and I don't like dancing. Like I think I've said this multiple times on stream, but I don't like dancing. I really despise it. I just find it like it's something that I'm too stiff of a person to dance, and I just really don't like it. She asked me. But, like, you know, I went to it, and I felt bad because I didn't dance, like, basically the entire time, because I just felt so awkward, and then she was like, come on, you have to do a slow dance, and it was a slow dance, and we did it, and all I did was step on her feet, like, the entire time, and it was, like, she probably had such a bad night, man. Like, I hate it. Like, this is, like, experiences like these is why it's, like, I just, like, go through, and it's, like, it's so bad, and I don't like, it just sucks. It just all sucks. We should do Dance Revolution for Community Day. I've already promised Dianea that the very first, like, if I ever do, like, show my face or whatever, the very first stream that'll, like, be when I do that will be a dance stream. So that is a promise I've made to Dianea, and I intend to keep that promise. I don't know, based on the information I've been giving, I'm trying to see how it could not be a date and couldn't place it. Well, I mean, that's fair. Like, if, yeah, I just didn't think it was a date at the time. I have the urge to buy a gun. Why do you want to buy a gun, Chunky? Well, you know, the reason why I don't, like, there wasn't any, like, you know, we were just there talking about random stuff. Like, we were talking about, like, it never went any deeper, like, than... super, like, you know, than baseline conversation stuff, you know? Like, we would talk about, like let's say it was an anime cafe, like, what was playing, on the speakers or whatever. Like, it wasn't, like, you know, I didn't think of anything of it. Chunkium Muck reference. Are you a Muck reference, Chunky? Crimes? I don't think that's the best reason to buy a gun, Chunky. Personally.
完全な形でなのです。人の世からなくなることで神の世に送ることができるのです。
質量保存の法則って知ってる?
My cat's named Chunky. That's what I assumed when you were talking about it earlier.
完全に物を消すなんて不可能よ。
Oh yeah, about what you're saying, it's crazy how some women have to be with guys, but it's also no, or have direct some women have to be with guys. At least the way I see it, right? It's like, I really dislike overstepping boundaries. So for me, I wouldn't be surprised if I would be one of the people that's like, needs to be like, very directly told to like specific things or whatever, because I'm someone that really dislikes to overstep boundaries. So even though I would think of, oh, maybe, like, let's say I would think of, oh, maybe she's into me or whatever, right? I would more think of, no, she's just being nice. Because, like, I don't want to be the person that assumes incorrectly, and then it's a very awkward situation. So that's, like, at least how I would see it. Because I would rather have to, you know, have so, like, if someone... And then if in the case that the person, you know, like, let's say, stops being into me during the time it takes for me to notice this, then I don't think it was a relationship that was meant to be, if they lose interest in me, like, that easily, I guess. Or maybe not easily, but, like, within that time frame.
ですから形を壊せばいいのです。わかりますか?
That's at least how I see it. But as I said, ever since going to university, I don't interact with people. I haven't interacted with people. like really that much. I never was able to like have any long-lasting friendships in university. So all my friendships are like still people I talk with online and high school. And anytime I meet people here in Vancouver and, you know, like, or just meet people in general, and then I tell people, oh yeah, all my friends are online. They're like, really? You don't know anyone in Vancouver? It's like they're very shocked.
古来から人が神に物を送る方法の中でそれを満
Too
たす
scared
方
to
法が
talk
あ
to a
り
girl.
ます
Every
の
time a
ですよ
girl greets me, I just stare. Based, Z. Based. That's all I can say. Based.
そうか。
Vancouver, you guys heard it? Yeah, people have known for the longest time that I've lived in Vancouver. A way ancients sent tributes to the gods. A way to get rid of something from the human
焼
world.
けってことね。焼いて灰にして天に送る。
If you guys managed to find me in Vancouver, Canada, I would be shocked.
そうで
To
す
be honest, Vancouver's such a huge place. If you managed to find that out, that would be
焼いて
crazy.
灰にすることで
You know
形は
who
失われ
else
て
is in Vancouver?
意味を失い
Northern Lion
人
is.
の世から消え去りますのです。
なるほど。かけらが宿る何かを焼いて灰にしろってのね。その何かが簡単に燃やせるものであることを祈るわ。
I've had many different types of friends. All of them are online now, though. Yeah, I mean, even, you know, my mom was, like, talking with me. Because, like, you know, she's obviously gone through her past and everything. And she's always said that it's shocking to her how, like, I'm able to keep up friends with everyone from high school, you know? But it's, like, I always tell her, it's a different time. You know, I'm sure if, like, she had internet and, like, phone and texting and all that during, and social media during her time when she was alive, I do not doubt that she would be able to stay friends with everyone from her high school. At least, like, you know, the school that I went in as well, friends were very, very, like, close-knit. It's not like, here in Vancouver, for example, I had friends that lived in Vancouver, their entire, or sorry, I had people I talked to in uni that lived in Vancouver their entire life, and them moving to uni, they fell out of contact of those friends. So I also think it's a different, like, I guess, culture. Like, maybe the idea is that you lose your friendships and then you make your real friends in uni. But, like, for me, it was always, like, my closest friends were in high school, where I grew up. The longest friendship I experienced was 9 years. My longest friendship, technically, I've been friends with since 4th grade. But, like, he's not one of my closest friends. I'm just, like, friends with him, you know? What, like, closest friends I've been friends with, like, since middle school. Which, so it's, like, 6th or 7th grade. That's what I would say. So, I don't know how long that would be. It would probably be, like... Actually, more than, like, maybe 14 years? Is that right? Yeah, I think that would be right. Kills you? What do you mean kills you?
岩だった日には
Only Higurashi can bring out discussion of relationships and love. Well, I mean, it is kind of what it's like, you know, based around, I guess.
実はリカ、そのかけらが宿るのが物ではなく人である
And it's
可能
gonna
性
say
も
it's
あ
in
りますのです
Satoko. It's gonna say that's in Satoko, isn't
な
it?
るほど。かけらは思いなんだもんね。物に宿るばかりってわけじゃないかもね。でも羽生、仮に人だったらどうするの？まさか焼いて灰にしろって言うんじゃないでしょうね。
人の意味は命の形が失われた時点で失われます。
そりゃそうよね。
I met my friends in the most ridiculous ways. All my friends are lunatics like me. Everyone I'm friends with now is because we played League of Legends together. And we still, like, 12 years later, 14 years later, still play League of Legends together. So maybe we haven't improved as a friendship. Maybe it's like we're all just chuds playing League of Legends.
死体はもはや人じゃないわ。ってことは、もしかけらが宿っているのが人だったら。
That's crazy, Z, that you were looking that up in a bus. What made you go about doing that? I believe until now I've been searching for object, but maybe it doesn't even have to be that. He does that too? I don't even know where to start with that. But, like, why in public like that? Like, you can't wait, like, the couple minutes it takes to go home and like to go in your room to do that? Not gonna lie, I don't know what that is. Rule 34, Ruben. If it exists, there's porn of it.
嫌な話ね。この世界、どういうわけか嫌な想像に限って当たるのよ。
僕もそうでないことを祈るしかないです。
嫌な想像は大抵当たる。を逆手にとって、先にそれを探るの
Like, there's even here, if we really wanted to do this, right? What we could, there's Rule 34, where you try to guess which one has higher amounts of like porn numbers on Rule 34, or higher like image searches on Rule 34. That's like a thing. I've just never heard of Rule 34 before. Yeah, okay, there you go. Oh yeah, by the way, I thought of what I'm gonna name the Umineko title. I got it. Right? Because it's Umineko when they cry, right? So we're still gonna keep if we laugh, right? Because it's Bygor crap if we laugh. But then this is what we got me, you, throat, if we laugh. Absolute cinema, probably another banger of a title by me.
仮に人だったら、やっぱりお社様に縁の近い人。
I was sitting in my seat searching for tall mommies while the girl beside me searched for yaoi. We deadass exchanged numbers. So how did you guys create a connection in this short time where you guys were looking for Rule 34 on the bus? Like, how did this happen? Like, who instigated this conversation? Did like she look over at your phone or you look over at her phone? And then were you guys like were you like, oh, you're looking at yaoi, huh? I like my tall muscle mommies better. Like, how did this conversation happen? I'm just an average normal person. Only porn I know is the hub. I'm not that sophisticated. It took me, like, what is it? It's actually kind of sad. I mean, I don't know if it's kind of sad. Like, I don't even know what I would name this. I'm just gonna talk and then you guys can say. I didn't, like, jerk off for the longest time. Not because, like, and when I would tell people this, they were either, it's like the either thing is that they didn't believe me. Like, it was all throughout high school. It was like, how do you say? It's just because I never had any desire to do something like that. I never had any desire. So that's why I just never did it, right? But eventually, I was like, okay, let me try it. Like, let me try porn or whatever. And like, I still couldn't like it. And it got to the point during COVID where I was just like, okay, let me just try it. And I literally forced myself to, like, without getting into specifics or details, I just forced myself to jerk off. That was the entire thing. And then it was like, I started doing it out of habit, not because I enjoyed it. And then through that, I guess, is how I just started doing it naturally. Forced edging. The thing is, it's not even edging because I didn't edge myself. I just did it. You are getting into details? No. I could go into more details if you wanted to. Trust me, you're not getting the details. Do you still hate it? It's hard to say. I don't think I do hate it. But it's like, I also don't know if I'm just doing it out of habit or I'm doing it because I enjoy it, you know? And that's something I actually, like, think about from time to time. Like, am I doing this because I enjoy it or just because it's habit for me to do it? I say you already are getting into details. Well, yeah, I guess, but like without getting too much into detail is what I'd say. You know, that's a blessing not even want to do it. Sometimes I wish I didn't want to. I mean, yeah, that's fair.
もしそうだったら、ぶっ殺せばいいってわけね。
My human morality refused the idea of killing my parents. That was nothing a world-crossing witch needed to think about. Mercurius is so bad. Who is Mercurius? Oh, it's from, okay, I see. But that was a world but that was nothing a world-crossing witch needed to think about. Okay, wait, what did you say? I glanced a little, and she glanced a little, and we looked at each other and said, so wanna be friends? That is crazy. That is so funny, Z, that it just happened that way. But, like, what happened the next day, right? Like, you said, so you want to be friends? What happened the next day? Like, did you guys sit next to each other on the bus again? Meaning it was the same as a dream. Murdering someone in a dream was no different from doing it in a delusion or daydream. There was nothing to consider about committing the sin in this world. Honey was making sad ow-ow noises, so I told her how I felt.
偽善しゃぶるのはやめて。ならあんたは元の世界へ帰るのは諦めてもいいって言うのね。
No, I deadass go to her house and sleep with her. There you go. Not like, no, I get you.
あんたは卑怯よ。手を汚す決断を私にだけ
like, what is it? I've never thought, like, when people say, oh, sleep with blank, I've never thought of it as like, you know, oh, I'm good. Like, even though that's like the implication, I guess, that people say, like, I've never, like, when people say, oh, sleep with this person, my first thing is never to like, oh, yeah, you had sex with them. Because, like, growing up, my brother and I slept on the same bed. Like, literally throughout entire, like, and when I go back, to my, like, it's, like, just sleeping on the same bed with people has been, like, literally my, like, childhood, like, throughout my entire thing. When I went by cousins, I slept on the same bed as them. When I went on a school trip, when I literally went to Malaysia for my SEA forensics speech and debate trip, I slept with literally slept with a gay dude on the same bed, and it was completely normal. Like, literally, we just treated like, we just slept on the same bed. Like, so that's why, you know, for me, I just see it as like a normal thing.
罪を誰か一人にかぶせれば、他はみんな罪にまみれずに済んで好都合。私はちょうどいい人柱ってわけね。
I felt those words were a little harsh on Hanyu. For a short while, she remained silent, not saying anything. But her breathing made it sound like she wanted to say something, but was hesitating.
私は元の世界に帰りたい。レナがどこかの世界で言ったわ。幸せになるにはどこまでの努力が許されるんだろうってね。私はその努力に限界なんてないって。
Just regularly sleep outside. I mean, great. You know, it's comforting to have someone on the same bed as you. Like, like one of the, because like living by myself, that was the first time I like one of the first times in like a long time I didn't have someone here to sleep with, you know, like just have someone's presence be there on the bed. And it was for a while, like it was I wouldn't say lonely because I liked being by myself. Like after COVID, it was just nice to just be out and be by myself. But like just not having that presence there felt very weird. Like even still, okay, even now to this day, because growing up, I slept on one side of the bed the entire time, it still feels weird to sleep in the middle of the bed. And I still have a habit on sleeping on one side of the bed. So one side of my bed always gets used and the other side has never gotten used because I'd never sleep there. Stuffed animals, so I'm fine. I had stuffed animals in you know, in my parents, and I like when we go back, like they're not on the bed because my my brother's on the other side of the bed, and like it just takes up too much space. But like, yeah, if I ever find some way to bring my stuffed animals over, I need to, like, once I get whatever this is, I get a bigger like place and everything. Hopefully, at some time in my life, I will you know, bring them over and like find a place to put them. You had that moth in your room. You know, that's crazy. That moth came into my room and then I ended stream and looked around for it and it disappeared. I couldn't find where it went. People, why is Twitch emote so cringe? What's so cringe about it? You have Now you have to talk to a lot of people to get their advice on whether your efforts are misplaced or not. That's why I was talking about it with Hanyu, the only one who shared my current situation. And Hanyu said that if the object possessing the fragment was a person, I had to kill them. I would want to avoid that, of course, if there was any other way. The Tuno tongue reference. Can we bring back that clip? I don't know where to find that clip. You'd have to go looking for it. No, I've had that emote for forever. But if said that was the only way, then I wouldn't hesitate. That was all.
僕も元の世界に帰りたいのです。
そうね、私もよ。
かけらが宿っているのが人でないことを祈ってます。
祈ってて、私も祈ってるわ。あと、謝るわ。きついことを言いすぎた。
Vika Furu goats. They're all the goats.
あんたにできることは、ヒント探しと、私が挫折しないよう、士気を保つことくらいなのよね。自らの手で鍵を探せないもどかしさを、理解してなかったわ。
Keiichi Maeko.
理科よりは辛くありませんのです。
Are we also doing Taka Goat? Are we doing that as well?
理科の心が疲れてしまわないよう、僕にはこうしてお
Miyu
話を
Taka
して
Goat.
いたわってあげることしかできませんのです。
ありがとう。
I just realized. What did you realize, Z?
あんたとするヨタ話が、この世界では一番楽しいわ。悪夢がその間だけ冷めるような感じ。
Takano Mi. Yeah, there we go. Okay. It's weird. It's weird not having so many things here. Like this world is just wrong. It just feels so wrong. Like I can't imagine. Like how does like before Rika came over and took over this other Rika, which I don't know what happened to her by the way, but like before that happened, what how is this Rika living? This just seems so sad. Sort of understand why she said chatting could be important. Honey was the only one I could talk to from my original world. If I lose contact with Honey, maybe my very connection to that world would weaken, and my memories would blur. And that would simply give birth to a miserable, broken-hearted girl, living the delusion that this world wasn't the one that she belonged in.
私に任せなさい。必ず。あんたと一緒にあの世界へ帰るわ。だから。
It's at least nice having Satoshi because he's the only one, like, able to keep Satoko in check from, like, being just an absolute jerk to Rika.
私も何か進展があったら。
Because, like, I don't know in the original world that Rika and Satoko were still friends before Satoshi, like, you know, disappeared. You've been meowing like a cat for 11 months now. Z, I've been meowing like a cat for years now. Literally, it started in 2024 when Surplus started this thing. Surplus, like, literally, there's the quote of when, or like the clip of when I initially did this. Wow.
リカ、しっかり。ファイト、オーなのですよ。
Oh.
I couldn't hear Hanyu anymore. The crystal ball's light had grown weaker than ever. But as long as it had its otherworldly glow, then I could keep believing this wasn't the world I was supposed to live in. Satsuko being an abuse victim made her a better person? I mean, yeah. Technically, yeah. Before I might have shed a tear or two by now. To all the tears I could cry had dried up. I gripped the crystal ball tightly, savoring the cheer Hanyu had given me. Do your best. Go for it. Yay. I'm glad you end up going through all this. Well, yeah, I mean, you said it adds a lot, like, you know, it's important, or not important to the story overall, but it's like, it's an epilogue, you know, so, and it wraps up Rika's character, so I think if you say something's important, I'll trust your judgment. I moved over to a spot with a pile of old documents. If it could interfere with Hanyu, it had to be related to the legends of Oyashiro-sama. So maybe I thought a clue would be written in one of the documents in that pile. Maybe even if the thing I searched for wasn't in here, I could find a clue to it instead. Here, wait, let me see if I can find... Where is this at? There has to be somewhere this is. In here? Here. This is literally, Z, look at this. June 17th, 2024. This was where it all began. This is the first time the meow thing ever happened. Let me go here. This opera. Go to this. No, that's the wrong one. I need to go to YouTube. This one. Okay. This is where it started. This is where the entire cat thing started. This clip right here. Hello? Is it going to play? What do you mean answer a question? What do you mean answer a question? And then Radiohead's playing as well. Oh, I hope it'll get... Yeah, okay, we'll see. That was where it started. On June 17th, 20... Okay, we're gonna see what happens. Let me go over here. Answer. I don't know. I don't know why it's... Can't hear it? Oh my gosh. I have to listen to it again then. Do it in your most ooh voice. I won't have it any other way. Okay. Yeah, and this is like watching the story write itself. Is it? Is it? Back when I was Dionea SSBM, yep. Where it all started, it really is. It really is where it all started, huh? You did it so well, it became a running thing. Maybe I should have just done... Maybe I shouldn't have tried so hard. Maybe I should have, like, just not listened and just gone, like, meow, meow. Meow, meow, ooh, oh, oh. And then, like, it would have ended there, and then it never would have been a thing ever again. Terraria first final updates. I mean, Terraria's had, like, 50 final updates, right? ReZero 2 more weeks! Oh, let's go, and then it resumes again? Big, Ruben, big! If something important was in one of the indecipherable ones, I would have no way of knowing. Also, no PNG. Yeah, no, it was before I had the PNG. Before I had this guy right here. What up, everyone? But I shouldn't think about that right now. I pulled out the few documents I could read and decided to read them in secret at school and in bed. Been dying here with no ReZero content. If, like, what is it? While in the hospital, if only you had ReZero content to tide you over. But I guess, like, maybe it was a good thing, because you could focus on ReZero while being in the hospital. I don't know. You mean... You mean hello, every nyan? No. I'm on that Azumanga episode right now. Really? It's close to the last one? That would appear in, like, the close to the last one? Maybe parents did understand their children best and would be the first one to answer them. That was when they were more normal. They were normal and not a witch like me. If their daughter started babbling about not being from this world, they'd probably tie her down and summon a noisy ambulance. If I were a little more cunning, I could flatter my parents and put the work in to make this world a little more bearable. The more I thought about it, this world is not being the one I lived in, the more apathetic I felt towards interacting with those who were here. What was your visual novel again, Z? I can't remember. I remember you said it last time, but I can't remember what it was now. I got baited into watching a good anime by this clip that blew up. Was it actually good? Are you enjoying it, Dionea? It's all free on YouTube. Really? That was probably why it seemed like I was being more and more isolated in class. Of course, maybe you could say that it was my own fault. If you're curious, search in private. So is it one on Steam? Let's see. It's also like an 8.5 for you. Nice. Murder Drones? Oh, wait. I've not continued Murder Drones from then. I just never have time. Like, I haven't watched a show in, like, forever. Chunky. So I haven't had, like, time to watch anything. The best time for me to do it probably is during, when I'm doing my own, like, exercises at home. I need to that's probably the best time to do it then, because I usually watch a YouTube video then. A series being free on YouTube is a blessing? It is. It is. It's summer? I don't have summer break or anything. I don't go to school or anything. So I always, like, I'm working and everything. So it's whenever I get a chance to. Now, of course, not a single person could tell the difference between Rika Furude and me. Anyway, who is me? The me that isn't Rika Furude, who is she? I came around to a quiet, electronic beep. I looked at my watch and noticed it was already evening. Being in here made me lose track of time. The other day I was out way past my curfew and was scolded for a long time. The alarm on my watch was to prevent that. Letting my relationship with my parents grow any worse would make everything else more troublesome. You don't have Summer Z? What do you have? I should call it quits for today. With practiced motions, I climbed the bundle of chains and headed through the exit in the roof. When I returned to the main house, surrounded by the cries of the Higurashi that I'd grown completely tired of, there was a tightly packed case of beer near the front of the door, and 3 bottles of wine. The big case was probably for a drinking party at the Shrine's assembly hall or something. My father didn't drink beer because he liked it, so I knew it had to be for the assembly hall. They had delivered it here before the party so they could chill it beforehand in the assembly hall refrigerator. And the wine probably belonged to my father. My father enjoys Western spirits and wine most of all. And wine at the same time was something I enjoyed as well. Before, after my parents had died in 1981, I'd gotten wine by bringing it from the main house, but my parents were alive in this world, so I couldn't do that. Definitely at some point I do want to play Phoenix Wright, but I don't know when I would do that. I am joined Discord because I don't know what word you were trying to say here. Because I deleted it and made a new account. Okay. Sounds good, Chunky. No worries. I took a key from my pocket, unlocked the door, went in, and saw a note addressed to me upon entering. Why'd you make a new Discord account, though? It was from my mother. The note said an accident had suddenly occurred at the Kimiyoshi house, and they'd gone to help with a memorial service. They'd be late coming back, and so on and so forth. What's your Discord again? Like, to join my Discord server, you could look down in the, down below the screen here. Let me share with some Malaysian Peak. Okay, let's hear some Malaysian Peak then. Give me a second while I boot this up. Kamila Anwar. I see, that must have been referring to all of this. If the person had come while I was here, I could have told them to put it inside, but I couldn't bear to see them outside like this. Put it here before I got back. And it would be a pain if my mother started rambling about me being inconsiderate later. I made a sour face, not caring who saw, and pulled the case of beer through the front door. Next, I stood before the wine bottles and solidified my thoughts. Couldn't there have been a slip-up with the order? It was a brewery in a small village. If my father called to say he'd ordered one more bottle, they'd probably bring over another one without a second thought. Is this Charlie Kirk? Is this original Charlie Kirk? Like a cat? What does that mean, Z? Taking weekly blood tests is a pain in the ass? Now, I guess now you know, Ruben, how Satoko felt. So what would it matter if one of these disappeared? I always diluted before drinking, so I'd be able to enjoy one of the bottle of wine for a pretty long time. Are you allowed to, like, what is it? Weekly blood test. I guess they don't take much blood. I guess I was thinking more of like, oh, donating blood. But yeah, if it's a blood test, they don't really take much blood. But yeah, like, I remember having to do a blood test, and I just hated that. I can't imagine having to go and do one every week. It would be so frustrating. You know what? That is... was the original AI song. Okay. What is it? So what do the lyrics mean then, Z? Despite being in the entrance, I belatedly looked around, grabbed a bottle, ran into my room, and then pushed it in the winter futon in my closet that I wouldn't use for a while. At least it's better than at the hospital. Did it almost every day. Well, yeah, I guess that's fair. But are you, like, on the road to recovery, Ruben? Is it, like, a full recovery, or what, like, what'll happen, I guess? If you don't mind me asking about what's happening medically with you. Actually, my parents live here, too, so I wouldn't have many chances to drink. I ran to the kitchen, grabbed a glass, ice, a corkscrew, and a carton of orange juice, then ran back into my room. It's just the We Are Charlie Kirk, but in Malay, and it's about our Prime Minister. Oh, okay. I see. So that's who Camila Anwar is. Put the corkscrew on the wine bottle, and I was overwhelmed by the urge to wet my tongue with a nostalgic flavor as soon as I could. No, his name is just Anwar. Oh, okay. What does Camila mean? How was I supposed to survive in this world without enjoying a good wine? I poured some into the glass and just listened to the orange juice splashing in to fill it up. Made my mouth water like a dog. Camila as we are. Oh, okay. Yeah, definitely a road to recovery, getting better each day. I'm very happy to hear that, Ruben. That's great to hear. But it was the nostalgic flavor that belonged to my world. At one time, this had been the flavor of my tears of defeat, shed for the unbreakable June of 1983. But now even those tears of defeat felt sweet and tender. Those dead-end worlds were very painful. But I was still surrounded by my kind friends. I had the leeway to choose to surrender to Takano and continue lazily living in that infinite loop. But even that warmth was absent in this world. This made a week now since I came here. Wow. I like how the first comment is, white tears flow down my legs while I listen to this song. Even separated by language, it's still the exact same comments. With no prospects of returning to my previous world, something. I resolved myself to staying here for a long time, but a weekend had already driven me to drink. It'll be fine. Taking my antibiotics 3 times a day, taking a lot of rest, can't wait to get back to normal. Nice! Did the doctors have, like, an estimation of when, like, how long that would take? Those are some weird comments, yeah. It kind of just happens, I guess, yeah. It'll be fine. Those words had driven me to the same fate. I still managed lazily doing my best as I soaked in wine, right? A couple weeks. Great, yeah. That's amazing. You know, it's been a long time coming, so I'm glad, like, it'll take a few weeks. I'm crying! Why are you crying, Dianea? I needed to be released from this Rika Furude quickly. Nobody in this world would understand that, even if I explained it. That meant I had no allies here. If I told someone, they'd think I'd gone crazy. But considering this world's Rika Furude, that was only natural. This world's Rika Furude was a dour girl without a single friend. One day she'd been hit by a ball in the schoolyard and started saying she didn't belong in this world. If that big Dr. Yamamoto heard about this, he'd probably make a huge fuss about the impact having caused brain damage. But that would make the most sense to the people who live here. Why is the house so cold? Do you, like, not have a heater or something? Or what exactly? Or do you just have, like, AC and that AC is blasting, like, really high? Or, like, well, yeah, what about it, I guess, makes the house so cold? At the very least, until I arrived, Rika Furude was Rika Furude, the correct being for this world. Maybe it was more appropriate to say that one day I, someone different from this world's Rika, appeared and then took over Rika's body. Right. Am I not Rika Furude? Well, no. This world's Rika Furude was this world's Rika Furude, a different being than me. Kawaii? Is that what that says? I can't remember what that says. I cannot remember anything with kanji. Or is it Samui? We don't have heaters or anything, but I never felt cold. It felt normal, but going to hospital for 2 weeks, it was in a nice warm room, then coming back, shit was cold as fuck. But, like, do you know why it's so... Do the hospital have heaters, or something else? Chunky artist slash menace to society. Are you really a menace to society, Chunky? I'm like a kid. Well, what's the word? I can't remember. It definitely looks familiar, but I can't remember what that is. There's a Takai. Giving Tuno straight aura. What is this? Dude, not this ticky thing. Okay. Not for this scene, please. Samui, okay. Dance an Ormog. Wow. Yeah. Listen to me. Yeah. Just wait. Yeah, you guys aren't ready for this. You guys aren't ready for this. Holy aura! Holy aura! Let's go. The Aura Monster, I mean, kind of just is. It is the Aura song. It's absolute cinema. It is absolute cinema. Holy! You guys have not seen Aura farmed harder than that! Wow. How beautiful was that? Okay. What's the video you have here, Chunky? What do you have here? Do you hear it if I go here? Okay, you don't hear it if I do this, meaning I need to go to here. Then I go to Discord. Where'd I go? Boom? Tiky's greater than Yada 100%. I've seen so many debates like that.
How did we find this fucking kid, man?
My mom threw me out the window when I was 3 because...
Oh yeah, I saw, Chunky, that you were like making your videos like this as well, right? Like you had a YouTube channel, you're uploading stuff like this as well? Thank you. No worries, Diana. No worries. I hope you enjoyed me aura farming. When I thought about that, leaving aside whether I'd been living happily, I felt like I'd done something bad to this world's Rika Furude. Of course, it was too late to apologize now, and I couldn't give this body back to her anymore. Do you know the Aura Monster? Yeah, you know me. The #1 Aura farmer, Aura Monster, like every single Aura thing, that is me. That is me. Dude, I would make an edit for you, but there's not enough clips. What clips would you want? We can farm them right now, and then you can turn them all into an edit if you felt so inclined. Because if I called myself Rika Furude, the girl who already existed would vanish from this life. Which meant the only way to apologize was not to call myself Rika Furude. You just got my teeth! Well, that had been bothering me for a long time. I've long felt that my young self, pampered as the reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama, and my old self would awaken and travel countless worlds, had different personalities. But if I thought of them, not as personalities, but as different beings entirely, right now I was no longer Rika Furude. Who am I? I stared vacantly at the wine bottle. Someone pays Tuno on Super climbing up the stairs with aura. Yep. Dude, I have so much aura, especially on the, like, me shitting out strawberries, the last short there was. I stared vacantly at the wine bottle. Like, I probably had gained so much aura from that. Did I like this brand? My father always loved to drink this wine. I have roll of dice for Femboy Baddie opened 17 hours straight. Did you get any rare baddies? Why is your teacher have you on Roblox and then is messaging you on Roblox that you've had a femboy open, like, roll a femboy baddie for 17 hours? It's a good time to say that I'm non-binary. There is never a bad time to say that. Unless, like, you came into stream and we were talking about how much we hated non-binary people. That would probably be a bad time. But in that case, you probably wouldn't, like, want to be in this stream in the first place. As a result, I borrowed it in countless worlds, and I'd love to drink it even now. Right now, I couldn't even be lazy without borrowing the power of alcohol, and this wine comforted me just a little. At this point, I couldn't go on living without this wine. In other words, I wasn't alive, but the wine was. I don't believe that has ever happened. True, I don't think it ever has, so there you go. Which meant I wasn't Ikafu today, and that was the wine. Well, how about this? Well, I think that's binary then, right? So, well, I guess non-binary, it's just like not two things, right? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that stuff well enough. I stared at the Western letters of the brand name written on the wine label, which I didn't know how to pronounce. I thought to myself that it was the name of me. My name is Rika Furude. No, not that, but this Bernkastel. Huh. What? It is. I know that's binary, right? But I'm saying like binary people. It's like because binary is two things. It's like you fall on two. Yeah, whatever. I found a music artist that kind of sounds like you in a way. Give me a second. Okay, sounds good. I'll be able to play it after, like, I guess this scene is over though, Chunky, because it seems like a very important scene. I'm making. I know. I just didn't know what to do. Okay, I didn't know what to do. Maybe I'll ask my father. Frederica Bernkastel. So is this the brand name? Frederica Bernkastel? And that she's having that as her name? Oh, whatever. What a silly name that is. My thoughts began to slur and muddle. Cheers to this shithole of a world. I know it's Rika, right? But did she get that off of the brand name on the thing? Jeez, well, at least you can laugh. I put effort into that. The stream's a shithole. Wow, Chunky. Yes, okay. We're all. I have a shithole.
どうしたの急に。母の日は特に過ぎてるわよ。
As I thanked my mother and patted her shoulders, I brushed her head. Kind of crazy because Surplus and I figured out Rika was Bernkastel in chapter 6. But, like, I don't understand why would she be saying so many quotes, though? Right? Because, like, it obviously sounded like her. Right? Whenever she would, I guess, narrate whatever. Right? But, like, why would she be saying these quotes? Okay. What do you have here, Chunky, as your song? Why is my teacher playing Roblox in the middle of teaching? Maybe he, like, has an AFK song. Like the poems? Yeah, like the poems. Like, why would you be saying that? As I thanked my mother and patted her shoulders, I brushed her head. It was a show, of course. If she had the same power inside her as Hanyu, then touching her like this, I'd be able to sense it, even if it was feeble. If I did feel that power from my mother, could I kill her on the spot? See, any of Bernkastel, not Rika, writing poems to escape. Or to cope. I would hesitate to kill, but I couldn't say I wouldn't hesitate right here and now. If you notice, all of them have to do with the journey through chapters. Oh, okay. Because I would rather she not have that power inside her. Depression can make anyone a poet. Fair. I mean, a lot of poets were depressed, as I learned in English class. I'm not tripping tripping half the time, but I don't think I didn't think that certain part. Okay, tell me which part, and then I'll keep it in mind. But it just, yeah. I was carefully checking if I needed to kill her.
ありがとう。
Check Discord.
気持ちは十分伝わったから、もう許して。
Oh, okay. Do it. The frog anyone doesn't have any interest in the world. Hatarigoroshi Hen. From Sound Novel. The frog like Kermit? That's how Surplus and I came to... That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. So who took this screenshot? Is this your screenshot from your computer, or is this Surplus's screenshot? My cat is eating wires right now. I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think that's a good... I think you should probably stop your cat, if that's the case.
くすぐったくて辛いわ。
My mother told me that was enough, smiling in a way that was not dissatisfied as her words implied. Okay, this is the part. Let me hear. Even after being so scrupulous about touching her, I couldn't feel any trace of the power. My mother wasn't the one who held the fragment. I had already felt my father's head. It wasn't him either. Give it a minute or something? Okay, okay. It wasn't either of those two people. Okay, I'll listen. Let me listen. When he isn't singing, okay. If it wasn't... Okay, I'll just have to wait till I'm not singing, but I don't know when. I mean, you'll have to wait for other people in chat to say so. Because people are really bad judges of their own voice. So someone else will have to say if they agree or not. If it wasn't either of those two people closest to the legend of Oishiro-sama, then it was improbable that the fragment wasn't a person. It was a happy thing. I don't think so. What does the rest of people think? It was a happy thing, not having to kill anyone. But that meant one of my clues was now meaningless. That said, even though the possibility was unlikely, I'd still have to touch the heads of other people in the village every chance I got just to make sure. And at the same time, I had to continue my deciphering of the pile of documents in the ritual implement storehouse. Whichever I was supposed to choose, the labor of reading through that entire mountain, or the sin of killing someone, I was going to need much more than a little time. Triggered. I wouldn't say it sounded like me. Based on what I've heard, like listening to my voice, like from editing my videos and everything. But yeah, as I said, people are really bad judges of their own voice, so it's hard to say. I had lost track on how many mornings it had been since I drifted to this world, and this morning was frustratingly the same as the last world, the one I knew. They said next Sunday was the Watanagashi festival. This was the first time I didn't care whatsoever about it. For Hinamizo, in fact, facing a total eviction by next year, this would be their very last festival. They were apparently planning to put on a magnificent show to end things with. My normal world responsibility performing a dedication dance as the last survivor of the Furude family didn't exist in this world either. Still, I wasn't expected to simply go off and have fun. They would simply have me to help with things that kids could help with, like giving out boiled rice and answering the phone. I'd gotten used to going to school alone, too. When I went to school with Satoko, it was always a lively morning with us running and falling everywhere. But that, too, was beginning to feel like a memory of the distant past. I had someone said that I sounded like main skin? What is main skin? With several days already behind me and my mind settled, I'd stop crying about small memories like that. Okay, what is your thing here, Diana? Don't be sad. The world may forgive you, but I do. Don't be sad. You may not forgive the world, but I forgive you. You see, that's like, who, like, I guess like poems don't necessarily need to be talking towards someone. Committing a crime isn't scary. The scary part is to admit it. Receiving a punishment isn't scary. The scary part is to know the pain of it. Neither crime nor punishment will be gone from the world as long as humans are unable to know their futures. You know what your sin is? Isn't that you ate the forbidden fruit? You know what your sin is? Is that you listen to the serpent. You still don't know what your sin is. That itself is your sin. What is it that you want to see? I will show it to you. What is it that you want to hear? I will tell you about it. But please don't expect anything, because you close your eyes and ears is meaningless. So, okay, connection to chapters. Okay, chapter 1. This is chapter 2. Okay, I can see that. Isn't that you ate do you know what your sin is? Isn't that you listen to the serpent? You still don't know what your sin is? That itself is your sin. Okay, I can see that in chapter 3. Keiichi killing Satoko's uncle. What is it that you want to see? I will show it to you. What is it that you want to hear? I will tell you about it. Please don't expect anything, because if you close your eyes and ears, it is meaningless. What is it that you want to see? I will show it to you. Don't expect anything. Is that like Rena's thing in chapter 6? Oh, no. That's herself in chapter 4. Yeah, no. Don't expect anything, because that's her expecting Akasaka to come back. I can't satisfy you because you want the truth. I can't satisfy you because the truth you want doesn't exist, but I still want to satisfy you because it's all my fault. No, I think it is in order, Diana. The most difficult thing to find in this world is it the needle you lost in the desert? The most difficult thing to find in the world is it a crow's feather that you lost in the darkness? The most difficult thing to find in this world is realizing that your own perceptions are wrong. This is chapter 6. Summer's almost over. You know what that means. What does that mean, Chunky? OC being anime Kai OP is based. It's a music box version, which is cool. The frog in the well was happy because he wasn't interested in the outside world. The well was happy because he didn't have anything to do with the outside world. And you were happy too because you didn't know what happened outside the well. You were happy too because you didn't know what happened outside the well. I guess this was Rika saying it to Rena, which happened in chapter 6, but I don't know exactly what this is meant to be referencing. It means winter's coming. I mean, that's true. No more hot weather. Like being in a looping universe. Okay, so I guess that is chapter 7 then. That's Rika being apathetic. I wanted to know, this is still the same one as the previous, so I tried to claw my way up was there. I wanted to know what was outside the well, then I realized the higher I climbed, the more pain I felt when I fell. When my curiosity began to equal the amount of pain I felt, I finally understood the meaning of the frog, the well. I was the most unfortunate. I knew that there was no exit out of this maze. You were the second most unfortunate. You didn't know there was no exit out of this maze. The rest weren't so unfortunate. They didn't know that they were in the maze in the first place. So I guess this is talking about Hanyu. The little girl cried when she dropped her marbles in the desert. For 100 years, the girl searched the sands. The little girl cried because she might have lost them in the sea instead of the desert. For 100 years, the girl... Okay, so this is Rika again. The little girl cried because she might have lost them in the mountains instead of the sea. How long will it take until she begins to doubt whether she actually lost them? She wasn't discouraged, nor did she cry at her fate. She was beautiful. She didn't have anyone. Fought by herself. She was noble. She shined brightly like a goddess. I needed someone like her. Was the only one that knows you? Yes, that makes sense. Like time. Okay. Very interesting. Yeah, like now looking at these poems with knowing this, it does make a lot of sense. I feel like a lot of these are specifically towards chapter 7 stuff though. This is maybe like more chapter 8. What is that? What is that meant to be, Chunky? With like people worshiping cat me? This was one in chapter 8. Oh, and I guess this is actually saying this was the one for the epilogue. Rico was like, "Is this really the best world?" And then like basically God came down and was like, "Okay, you're not happy with this? Then have this other world where you're like it's like the most unhappiest world you've been in." I'm so insane right now. What do you mean you're so insane right now? Are you still spinning for femboy baddies? We as Tudolings, TM will create chaos. Why is there a trademark to them? Let me play your song as well, Chunky. Yes? So, and why are you going insane? What is this, Chunky? One rat spinning to the free bird solo, 10 hours. Everything I did was for the sake of returning to my original world. Wrong song? Okay, no worries. Might curse the trouble it was taking, but I would never try again. Because from the beginning, we had never had a single sign of anything to do with Burn Castell. It's such a back burner mystery, but it is cool. It is cool. So I wonder, you know, how this... and is this the reason why you say to do the epilogue? Because you figure out the, like, you know, it's the mystery of Burn Castell? Okay, what is this song? Mariah Carey, but she slipped on some ice while singing. Okay, yeah, this is how. The real Satoko was an incomparable friend of mine. Even if a fake Satoko ignored me, it wouldn't hurt me inside anymore. Oh no! You know this song is coming, Z. Mion wasn't outright cold like Satoko was, but she didn't seem to think of me as any more than one of her many classmates. Reina seemed like she was actually trying to talk to me, but that was because I was so isolated. She was acting out of a kind pity, and it seemed sadder to accept that. So it's in 4 months run. Dude, it's gonna start playing from October time. After she realized I didn't want her doing this and stopped bothering me. After just a few exchanges like... Okay, yeah. What is this? Being all alone wasn't sad anymore. It was only natural I'd be alone as an outsider to this false world. In fact, the less annoying acquaintances I needed, the easier it was for me. That's right. Easier. When I started feeling that way, then even if nobody talked to me during lunch, nobody invited me to eat with them, and nobody asked me to play after school, I was totally okay with it. With so few students in the classroom, if I took out a book not related to the class, Chie would confiscate it right away. I probably wouldn't be able to read the old documents while she was teaching. So all I could do was wrap them up in covers I made from flipping over leaflets and folding them, and spend my free time at school pretending I was reading a regular book. Why? So is she just gone? She just disappears? We weren't allowed to bring comics to school, but the unspoken agreement was that you could read novels as long as you didn't do it during class. If I could just ignore the hustle and bustle, lunch break was the time I could focus the most. Dude, why is the ambulance coming in now as well? Somewhere in those countless wars, there's a time where I got bored with my daily life and read a lot of old documents. No, they don't. They do not care. The show must go on, sure. Even if the lead singer slips and falls on ice and, like, potentially needs to be taken to the hospital and, like, has the potential of dying, just keep playing. The crowd won't know. Definitely won't. Thanks to that, I knew the gist of their contents. I just hope there's a clue somewhere in them about the fragment rejecting Hanyu from this world. It had been raining since midday. All of my classmates had stayed in the classroom for break, venting their pent-up energy indoors. Thanks to that, it was bothersome, loud, and uncomfortable day for me. At the same time as those words, my old document was taken from me, and there was Satoko's face smiling evilly. Satoko looked at the old document she'd stolen from me with disgust. Well, someone as ignorant as Satoko had no way to understand it. I learned about how to read classical Japanese from my father, and even had to go over each line several times to figure it out. Of course, for Satoko, it wasn't about what was said. She seemed more amused about how unsanitary it looked, with dirty letters written on dirty paper. But even if it was nothing more than a filthy book to her, to me it was something that could hold a clue. When I tried to snatch it back, they threw it to another friend, and as though she'd seen the attempt coming miles away. It's crazy how Satoko is literally bullying Rika. And that kid, after his face scrunched up at the filth being given to him, grinned like an idiot and threw it to someone else. We're putting Christmas music. Are we just putting Christmas music? Dude, like, I don't understand why Rika's being bullied. Like, I just don't get it. Several of my classmates threw it amongst themselves whenever I chased after it, teasing me. You see, I've always thought about this. The entire reason they're doing it is because they want to get a reaction out of you. I've always thought, like, to just stop caring. And, like, eventually they'll just, like, deal with it. Like, you know? Like, if you just, like, her chasing after it is what they want. So it's like, by them doing, like, Rika just shouldn't chase it. At some point, Miona joined their circle and it turned into classroom-wide bullying. But it wasn't the first time I had this happen. Actually, maybe before I came here, it was always like this. Even in a classroom with just 10 people, an order existed, and so did cliques. Belonging to none and not wanting to, I was the weakling in the room, and thus clearly the one it was okay to torment. It's kind of double-sided. It might take you as letting... I think so. But, like... For example, in this situation, like, for example, if it's something like a diary or something, right? Like, you probably don't want to, let people give it, like, you probably don't want other people to take it, right? So it's like, you don't want other people reading. So I guess, like, you'd want to chase after it. But in terms of this, where it's like, they're not, like, her reading it, like, they don't even need to read it. And if they think it's filthy, they'll probably just leave it alone. Maybe they'll throw it on the ground or something, like Takano's research paper, and, like, step on it, but, like, I don't know. It's July, jumps off a building. Christmas isn't almost here, I would say. Renee was the only one who said she didn't stop, and nobody listened to her. My classmates wanted to fool around, and they probably wanted to tell her I was the only toy in the room, so why shouldn't they play with her during lunch break? Okay, Ruben, thank you for stopping by. Have a good rest of your night. Or evening. Leading into night. See you, goodbye. See you another time. In the last few days, it had left heartwarming territory and moved into aggravating territory. This Satsuko clearly treated me with spite. When I thought about it now, the accident with the ball in the schoolyard that brought me into this world, she'd obviously been aiming for Rika, who had just been standing there in the yard. Was Satsuko always this oblivious to the pain of others? Alright, what's the next song here? Chunky, what is your song here? There's no snow, a summer Christmas Minecraft parody. Meow. Was Satsuko always this? Yeah. She'd understood people's pain best. Because even though she said mean things, she'd been through the worst of anyone. I see. In this world, Satsuko's parents were alive and the villagers didn't torment her. In other words, she hadn't been through the worst of anyone. Personality isn't wholly determined from birth, but it's also something cultivated over many events and experiences. With all her lucky dice rolls, this was how Satsuko's personality had turned out in this world. It poops on floor. Why'd you poop on the floor, Dianea? I can hear the music? No, there's no music playing. A completely different person from my best friend on the inside. Once I understood that, the sadness of Satsuko tormenting me disappeared, and in its place she began to look like a horrible brat just getting in the way of my haste to return to my original world. Don't bother me. I don't care what any of you do in this lunatic world, but I'm desperately working to return my original one, so stay out of my way. The old document made its way back to Satsuko again. This time, Satsuko started teasing me, waving it around, saying, "Come and get it." She yelled up her nose and made a sour face like she was holding something filthy, earning laughs and jeers from the rest of the class. I went straight for Satsuko, and of course she threw it to the next one in line. She must have thought it would make me go over there next, but I didn't care about where the document was. Instead, I charged straight at Satsuko. I tucked my nails in the base of my fingers and clenched my fists. I decided this was the fastest method to explain how important this was, make her understand, and prevent any reprisals, all in a short period of time. I swung my right fist at Satsuko's face. The tip of my fist plowed into her face below her left eye, leaving an imprint that wouldn't soon disappear. I promptly grabbed a clump of her hair and pushed her to the floor, then took a nearby chair and raised it over my head before smashing it into her a few times! What?! Satsuko didn't know what had just happened. Confused by the sudden violence, she just curled up like a turtle. It looked like a little crazy. It looked a little crazy hitting her with a chair like this, but it wouldn't hurt her badly. I raised the chair, then slammed it down over the top of Satsuko's upper body. Rika, what are you talking about? You're taking a chair and hitting her with it! Exactly as if to hold her to the ground. I lifted my foot above the chair and stomped like it was hammering a nail.
Satoko, あんた少しうるさい。私の親友と同じ顔してるから、いい加減。あんたのその甲高い声にもイラついてきたわ。以後、私の半径1メートル以内に入ったら、言い訳なしで即ぶん殴るから。聞いてる?
I stomped on the chair again and finally saw an expression of fear arrive on Satsuko's face. I knew this was the best answer. When given the chance, I had to give it to her straight. But it made me mad. I was the last one in the world who wanted to see Satsuko looking like that. I was the one who was forcing her to make that expression. It made me sick. But it was fine in the end. This Satsuko wasn't the one I knew after all. And one day I'd leave this world for sure. Even if I killed her on the spot, it wouldn't have anything to do with Satsuko of my world. That's why it didn't hurt inside at all, seeing her look at me so terrified.
ほら、リカちゃんの本を返してあげて。はい、リカちゃん。
Renna plucked the document from a bewildered classmate and returned it to me.
だからもう、さとこちゃんを許してあげて。少しやりすぎだよ。
ふーん。なら、私の大切な本を奪って、貴重な読書の時間の邪魔をするのは、大してやりすぎではない。
そういう意味じゃなくて。
当事者じゃないなら引っ込んでて。私はこれを取り戻せて満足よ。
I kicked the chair over, indicating to Satsuko that she'd been released, but even that action made her so scared that she was frozen in place. I didn't waste time going back to my own seat. Then Satsuko began to bawl shamelessly, and Satoshi ran over, making a big, overprotective fuss about the nurse's office and whatnot. The noise quickly reached the faculty room, and she and the principal soon burst in.
大丈夫ですか、さとこさん。これはあざになるかもしれませんね。サトシ君、保健室へ連れて行って休ませてください。私は山本先生を呼んできます。
While Chie was talking, the principal must have asked Mion what happened in the classroom. Mion spoke to him in hushed tones, glancing my way. She was probably saying she had no part in this. Nasty Mion might say that. He didn't betray my expectation. The principal came over to me and told me to come with him to the principal's office. This usually happens when a bullied child happens to bully back. A side effect of the bullying, perhaps. I was seriously fed up with everything, but my goal had only been to scare off Satsuko from bothering me again. Now I'd done that, I decided I need to calm the situation down. After being brought into the principal's office, he kept asking me why I punched Satsuko and lectured me that violence was never the answer. Regarding her taking my book and tormenting me, he admitted she was at fault, and I felt a little relieved.
これはなかなか難しい本であるな。
What is this? Oh, this is the Rika chair scene. Okay, well, let me see. No one knows about a board group of people. Well, I'm happy for you, Chunky. That's a good thing. Dude, this was way more violent. What? She threw the chair at her. Dude, this is so ridiculously... This is, like, even worse than I thought it was. Oh, they didn't have Mion or Ardena take part in this? Or, like, Ardena wasn't taking part, but they didn't have Mion take part in this. Which I think is a better thing, because I don't think Mion would have taken part in this. Like, that was a bit weird. I do think.
フルデ君の家の書物かね。
まあそんなところなのです。
わしも古文は嫌いではないが、これはなかなか
Also,
に
is that
難
cute,
読だ。
Chunky?
君には読めるのかね。
読めなきゃ読みませんです。
それは道理である。どういう内容のことが書いてあるのか。
Yeah, Cher depicted as Vika's signature weapon and certain things because of that. Oh, okay. His behavior wasn't one out of interest in the book, so much as an act as dripping with pity. Like he wanted to ease the mind of someone alienated and bullied in class a little. Accepting that would do nothing but further amplify my current
別に
unhappiness.
友達なんか欲しくないし、校長先生に友達になっても欲しくありません。もういいのですか？私はその続きを一刻も早く読み進めたいのです。
フルデ君、読書もいいが、たまには友達に混じって遊ぶのもいいこととは思わんかね。
Violence is never the answer, but it is the solution. You know what? That's kind of deep. If you think about it a bit. That is interesting. Why is Roel connecting me to the Texas server? I live in Asia. Maybe it's the only, like people aren't, how do you say, awake or something, or playing Roblox in Asia right now. Like, maybe it's much more common, like, people in Texas or something would be playing it. I don't know. It's a justified crash. Yeah, fair.
私の友達は別の遠い場所にいます。ここにはいないので興味ないです。
その手痛まないかね。
え？ああ。
I didn't realize it until the principal pointed it out. I must have scraped the skin on my hand when I punched Satsuko as hard as I could. A little bit of blood was seeping from my right
保
fist.
健室に山本先生が来てるから、行って手当てをしてもらいなさい。
そうします。
フルデ君、学校は勉強をするだけのところじゃない。友達を作るところでもあるぞ。少しそこを肝に。
失礼しますです。ペコリ。
This world's principal wasn't the principal who was allowed to lecture me, so I didn't have any desire to listen. On my way to the nurse's office, I passed the classroom. I met eyes with several students inside, but they immediately looked away. Maybe this will work out. I'm more comfortable with them being scared than teasing me. When I went into the nurse's office, the doctor was just putting a big piece of absorbent cotton under Satsuko's eye. She, who was with her, looked at me, then walked over with a scary look on her face.
二人とも、さとこさんはご本を取ってごめんなさいと、フルデさんは殴ってごめんなさいと、互いに謝りなさい。
Satsuko, who had been scared and weak in the face of sudden violence earlier, must have calmed down since now she looked dejected. She looked like it didn't make sense to her how she was only teasing me a little, and then suddenly I went crazy for no reason and hit her. If she was like that, there's no way she would apologize first. Of course, I had no duty to apologize either, so I wouldn't apologize first.
二人とも、 お互い謝らないならいつまでもこのままですよ。
Chie yelled at us. Clearly making a sour face, I held my bleeding fist out to Yamamoto.
出血してるじゃないかね。座りなさい。消毒しよ
二人とも先生の言うことが聞けませんか？謝りなさい。
I sensed that if we kept making Chie mad, she might tell us to stay after school. What did she think this was? I'm trying to think. If I was a teacher and I had to deal with this, what would I do? I'd probably not make them apologize immediately. I'd have to try to figure out the root of the problem. Like why Satoko took Rika's book in the first place. That's probably what I would do. What did she think this was? Like hell I'd let some school. I don't care. Like hell I'd let some school I don't care about do their little lecturing nonsense at me. Kill the witness is what I would do. What witness, Chunky? What witness? That's just in school, and I don't think you're killing anyone. Once I understood that, I was the first to act. As Yamamoto disinfected the wound, I smoothly gave her my apology.
殴ったりしてごめんなさい。
Even if I was appalled at how insincere my apology was, Chie probably felt the same way, but at least she appreciated the
ほら、
words.
フルデさんは謝りましたよ。さとこさんも謝りなさい。
ご本を取っていたずらしてすみませんでした。
Satoko's own apology was no less disingenuous than mine. I glared straight into Satoko's eyes, warning her to never bother me again. But Satoko was in her rebellious phase. It would take a lot more than that to make her wince. She returned my glare in kind, as if to say she'd get me back next time. Chie sighed, unable to do much about our insincere apologies. And then the bell signaling the end of the lunch break rang.
ではさとこさん、教室に戻りましょう。フルデさんも手当てが終わったらすぐに戻ってくるように。
Chie followed Satoko and left the nurse's office. I didn't give them so much as a glance as I just held my right arm out to Yamamoto. The stinging pain of the disinfectant was somehow weak. The hand receiving treatment didn't even feel like my hand. I think I'm a goon. Good for you, Z. I'm happy for you. Why do you say in this story like she's killed people in another story? Good for you as well, mob. I suppose it wouldn't. It's Rika Furude's hand. Not mine.
みんな今年で学校がおしまいになってしまうのが寂しいんだな。君もだろう？
別にそういうわけじゃない。
住み慣れた故郷が湖底に沈むんだ。悲しくないわけがないよ。
What would you consider the worst smell in the world and why? The worst smell in the world. I don't know. I don't think I've smelt too many horrible smells. I just wanted to clarify because I felt weird to phrase it the way it did. Oh, okay, okay.
君たちの気持ちもよくわかるさ。
That must have been Yamamoto's interpretation of the strained atmosphere in the classroom. If he was convinced of that, then maybe it was fine. It didn't matter to me.
君だってちょっと前までは友達がいっぱいいた。でもたまたま君と特に仲がいい友達がみんな揃って転校しちゃ
I'll
った
say
んだ
that.
よな。
Why? How did you find that, Chunky? What did you do to find that?
君が突然一人ぼっちになってしまった寂しい気持ちはわしもよくわかる。
仲の良かった友達。
ほら富田君や岡村君たちさ、いっつも仲良しの男子たちと一緒にいたじゃないか。君はこう一点で随分可愛がられていたと思うけど。
I see. Even Rika Furude had friends for a while in this world, and thanks to a stroke of bad luck, they all transferred out together and left her
で
behind.
も友達は彼らだけじゃないんじゃないかね。
Okay. Why would someone even, I don't even know why someone would do that. Like, you are there, and you have a box, and you just decide to shit in it, and then place it outside. Like, I really wonder what goes through someone's thoughts to do something like that.
寂しい気持ちもわかるし、来年までの仲かもしれないけど、クラスの他の子とも友達になって楽しくやっていった方が 君にとってもいいんじゃないかい？
別に親しくなりたくなんかないし、私の本当の友達はあなたの言う通り、とてもとても遠くへね。私はそこへ帰りたいだけ。
リカちゃんはいつからそんな大人びた話し方をするようになったのかね？
まあ気分です。
先日君がボールを頭にぶつけて気絶した一件以来、君がこれまで見せなかった暗い表情を見せているような気がしてね、心配してるんだよ。
I didn't know how close this Yamamoto man was to Rika Furude, nor how much of her he knew. But judging from his words, he seemed to be the kind of adult who understood children's feelings, just like Irie in the previous
あの
world.
ボールが当たった時、多分フルでリカは死んだと思うんです。
あれくらいで死んでたらドッジボールもできないよ。じゃああれで死んでたんなら君は亡者ということなのかね。
But why do you have to use this text, Junkie? Yamamoto laughed a little, but not to completely tease me. It was just to urge me further along. So Yamamoto wasn't just a doctor at the nurse's office, but a mental counselor for students at a susceptible age. It looked like he wasn't Idia's replacement for nothing. For some reason, I felt like opening up to him a little. Maybe it was because he didn't exist in the world I knew. Right now, everyone who's in the world I knew, no matter who it was, made me uncomfortable. That was why I felt like opening up specifically to someone who wasn't in that world. After all, Yamamoto probably thought I was just a girl hitting puberty. Whatever nonsense I spouted, he would nod and agree.
私、山本たちの知ってるフルでリカじゃないんです。
Okay, my bad! My bad! Meow!
それはどういうことだね？じゃあ君は誰なのかな？
とりあえずベルンカステルって名乗ることにしました。フルでリカって名乗ったらこの体の本来の持ち主に悪いので。
ベルン？横文字かい？まるで宇宙人みたいだね。君は
Good!
どこ
No!
から来たんだい？
You don't say that. No, 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 no. Listen, I'm doing a contractual obligation. I'm not doing this because I want to, okay?
別の世界からです。例えるならイフの世界。同じひなみ沢だけど歴史や成り立ちが全く違う世界。
Reasons? Bye. I know the bye is fading out. Alright, I'll see you, Chunky. Thank you for stopping by. Have a good rest of your day.
村人の立ち退きが決まっているけれど、ダム計画に村人が結束して立ち上がり、そしてダム計画は無期限に凍結された。そういう世界から来ました。
Wait, what do you mean, WTF?
では君の来たひなみ沢はダム湖には沈まないわけか？
そうです。昭和58年の後もずっとのどかな生活が続いていきます。
いいひなみ沢だね。わしもこの土地をとても気に入っているから、立ち退きは本当は心苦しい。だから君の来たという世界のひなみ沢に憧れるよ。その世界のひなみ沢をもう少しわしに教えてくれんかね。
The first step in counseling was to agree with whatever absurd story the patient came out with. If I didn't know that piece of trivia, I might have teared up at Yamamoto telling me to continue, but I couldn't resist the temptation to keep going. He encouraged me and I kept talking. In that world, there was a big protest movement we called the Dam Conflict, and it took years for them to withdraw the proposal. And through that conflict, the villagers came together. Everyone got along. All the students were friends. And we even had a transfer student come in from the outside of the village. We made a club where we would play games with Mion as the president. And Satoko was very unfortunate. She was good. While Satoko was very unfortunate, she was good friends with me. And then...
さとこちゃんがかわいそうだな。なんでさとこちゃんが村中からいじめられなくちゃいけないんだい？みんな幸せな世界なんだから。さとこちゃんにも意地悪しないで幸せの輪に入れてあげなよ。
別に意地悪で言ってるわけじゃないわ。私の世界ではそうというだけの話よ。それにこの世界のさとこよりは辛い運命をたどるかもしれないけど、そのさとこは
Someone in my game is named Jesus is King, but his username is Detron9000. Seems to have a connection there, no?
だからこの世界のさとこの顔が余計に腹が立つの。
その君の本当の親友と同じ顔で君に意地悪をするのが許せない？
そう。
Yamamoto heaved a heavy sigh, then stared out the window with his arms folded. It looked like the rain outside had let up somewhat, but it was still drizzling. After keeping his silence for a few moments, Yamamoto spoke up.
つまりここは君の世界じゃないということかい？
そうです。私は元の世界に帰らなければならない。ここは私の世界じゃないんですから。
確かにそんな楽しいひなみ沢なら一刻も早く
Show some
元の世界に
compassion.
帰
You
り
can
たいよ
always
な。
go back in the VOD and watch it. You don't need to do it. I don't need to do it again.
Demo.
There's no reason to.
帰る方法はあるのかね？
あります。でも、
Effort
探
though.
すのはとて
You
も
can go
大
back
変
in
で
the
す。
VOD and watch it. There was some effort there.
ほう。そりゃどんな方法だい？
多分、このひなみ沢のどこかに、かけらが落ちています。そのかけらのせいで、私を元の世界に戻す力を持ったいえ、お社様が、この世界へ来られないのです。
Excuse me?
お社様って古出神社に祀られて
What
る
is
あの神様のお社様？
this is I don't have to do it in cat voice, okay? Let's just keep this in mind. Tuner whimper audio when? Never! No! Meow, 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 neon. At least make the meows realistic. That's literally the entire point of the, read something ooh voice. That's literally the entire point of it. Neon, neon. I love being a cat. I'm a bit too ashamed to come out to my boss, though. What if he fires me because I'm weird? We're not doing any realistic meows. We're not doing this.
説明すると長いですが、そんなところです。
Real thoughts leaked for a second. No, not real. I'm reading off of a thing in Twitch chat. That's what I'm reading.
私は、彼女と一緒に、あまたの世界を巡ってきました。この世界は、その結果に漂着した世
Okay,
界の
dot
一
dot.
つでしかあり
Yes.
ません。
Okay.
だから、彼女が来てくれれば、すぐにでも出ていくつもり。
急に話が大きくなったね。つまり君はお社様と一緒にこの世界へ来たわけだ。ところが君をこの世界から連れ出せるお社様がどういうわけかこの世界に入れない。つまり君は船が漂流してしまって取り残されたようなものということかね。
平たく言うとそういうことです。彼女をこちらに呼びたくても、彼女を阻害するかけらがこのひなみ沢のどこかにある。それを見つけ出して焼いてしまわないと、私は元の世界へ。
そのかけらというのはどこにあるんだい？
どこかにあるの。かけらは重い。だからそれが宿る何か、どんな形をしているものに宿っているのかわからないし、宿っているのが物という保証もない人間に宿っているのかもしれない。何もわからないんです。
君は物だったら焼くと言ったね。人だったらどうするんだい？
羽生は人の場合なら殺すことで同じ意味を持つと言ってる。かけらを宿すのが人間でないことを祈ってるわ。
その羽生というのは誰だい？新しい登場人物だね。
ああ、お社様の別名よ。むしろ羽生が本名。お社様なんて名前は後世の村人の誰かがつけた。
なるほど。それが君の読んでいた本に書いてあったのかな？
別にそういうわけじゃないわ。
Yamamoto's arms remained folded and he groaned in thought. Another silence settled, with rain being the only audible sound. Maybe I'd gotten nervous. I knew it wouldn't solve anything to talk about it, but I did anyway. Yamamoto was probably wondering if something was wrong with my brain. I could guess that by looking at his complicated
そ
expression.
のかけらは見つかりそうかい？
わからないわ。羽生に干渉する力なのだから、お社様にゆかりのある何かにヒントがあるんじゃないかと思って探し物のヒントを探してる。
そうか、見つかるといいね。でもそれが人だったら君はどうするんだい？まさか本当に殺しちゃう気なのかね？
そういう風に聞かれると返答に困るけど、それしか元の世界に戻る方法がないなら、私どうせ 私の世界から見れば、この世界は妄想や白チュームと同じ。誰が死んだって私の世界では生きてるし。
なるほどなるほど。でもちょっと待ちなさい。君にとってこの世界は夢の中なのかもしれないが、たとえ誰であっても殺されちゃ困る。
理屈は分かってるし、私も人殺しなんてせずに帰れるなら。
話題を戻そう。君に元の世界への帰り方を教えてくれるその羽生はどうやって君にそれを伝えるんだい？お告げみたいなものがあるのかい？それとも夢枕に立つ？
そんな曖昧なものじゃない。会話するのよ。ある水晶玉が羽生と私の通信機の役目を果たすの。
わしもその羽生と話すことはできるかね？
That would be the fastest way. If he could talk to Hanyu directly, that would be enough to prove my nonsense true. But I felt uneasy. Even if I could talk to her, Yamamoto might not be able to. Those kinds of magic items come up pretty often in stories, but maybe it was worth a shot trying. I took the crystal ball out of my pocket.
そのビー玉が通信機かい？
やっぱりそう思うわよね。私もビー玉だと思ったわ。
The crystal ball's light was extremely weak. As it got dimmer, it was also taking longer to restore lately. After talking to her several days ago, the light weakened again. It was having a hard time recovering. This much light wasn't quite enough. It looked like it needed a little bit more time to
こ
recover.
のビー玉に光が宿ってるのがわかる？
どうだろう。光の反射じゃないかい？でも綺麗なビー玉だね。ラムネ瓶の玉かい？
とんでもない。フルデ神社の至宝。カムのなんたらとかいうありがたい宝だそうよ。
Well, my head. This is really interesting. Like, I didn't expect Mika to like really just be telling Yamamoto everything, you know. And I really wonder what he's gonna do with this information. Like, this is really interesting to me right now.
フルデ神社の。これでどうやって羽生と会話を？
私は額に当てるようにするわ。すると声が聞こえるの。
Yamamoto immediately tried. He shut his eyes and let out a low groan. It probably wouldn't work. I couldn't tell if it was because he wasn't me or because the power was too weak.
申し訳ないが、わしには聞こえんな。君はどうだね？
羽生と話すにはある程度の力が回復してないといけない。貸して。私でもダメね。まだ回復しきっていない水晶玉では羽生の声を聞くことができないわ。
I pushed it tightly against my forehead, but all I felt was a cool sensation. I couldn't feel the power in it.
そうか。それは残念
Dude, I wonder if this guy's gonna start, like, trying to convince Rika that, like, she's made this all up in her head.
日数を重ねると多少は力が回復す
I'm
る
at
よ
the
うな
hello Everina,
時間をもらえ
okay?
ればきっとまた会話ができるようになるわ。その時もう一度試してもらえれば。
そうかい。じゃあもし会話ができるようになったら、ぜひわしにも会話をさせてくれないかね？
ええ、もちろんよ。このままじゃ頭が変になったおかしなことを思われて終わりだも
I'm
ん。
finished gooning. Wow, how was it,
そ
Z?
の失礼な誤解を解かなくちゃ後味が悪いわ。
その水晶玉の神通力はどのくらいの時間を待てば回復するんだい？
もう少しだと思う。もう一晩も待てばひょっとすると大丈夫かもしれない。
Episode 25 halfway through, and then he'll be done with
力
it.
が戻ったらあなたに教えるわ。
ありがとう。待ってるよ。もし羽生と話をさせてくれたら、わしも君が元の世界へ帰れるように協力しようじゃないか。どうだね？
本当に？
The simple word help made a deep impression on my mind. If someone other than Hanyu were around to understand me, it would obviously be a reassurance, and with two people, the time it would take to go through the piles of literature would be halved. I'd welcome the help of a cat at this point, so I really was glad. On the other hand, I had to think about what Yamamoto felt. For Yamamoto right now, I was a dangerous person who said she might even commit murder over delusion. He was only speaking to me in such an understanding way to try to keep communication going. It didn't mean he actually believed me. But if Hanyu and Yamamoto could talk, it would clear all of those fears away. And then he'd have to believe in the supernatural phenomena of Hanyu and me. The real world didn't usually work out that well. After all, even if I made Hanyu talk to him, it could end the way it always does, with Yamamoto not hearing anything. Me, you, throat, yeah, there you go. You got it. Yeah. I could convey what she was saying, but he wouldn't believe it. That didn't mean I had the option of not trying. I wouldn't give up before doing it. I'd try everything. Wasn't that the lesson I'd learned from this 100-year journey?
約束よ。ちゃんと羽生と話ができたら信じて。会う会うしか言わない。およそ神様っぽくないやつだけどね。
約束するよ。羽生と話をさせてくれたら君の話を信じよう。でももし羽生と話ができなかったらどうする？
I didn't actually think he'd reply like that, and it confused me.
どうするって言われても。
君が勝ったら君の話を信じる約束になってる。じゃあわしが勝ったら君がわしの話を信じるという約束にしないかな。どうだね？公平だろ？
山本の何の話を信じろと？
Well, I could imagine it without having to ask. He's probably going to tell me to go to a largest hospital and have my head given a proper look at. Of course, there's absolutely nothing wrong with my head, so it would come up with the 0 results. When that happened, maybe they'd say I needed to take care of my mind and give me psychotropic drugs or something. I heard this from Nena once before. There's a drug that makes you incredibly lethargic, unable to do anything or even think anything at all. Dangerous patients think terrible things and sometimes actually do them. The drug stopped that from happening. If it made me take that, it would be the same as killing me. It might seem like a fair condition, but it looked to me like the scales weren't in my favor to begin with. I shouldn't have told this stuff to a man I barely knew. After all that, I began to regret my decision. Could I fool him if I said it was all a joke? Do you believe me, Nippa? If that was going to be my last resort, I could use it if my attempt to have Yamamoto and Hanyu communicate failed. I couldn't abandon the possibility that Yamamoto could be my ally without trying first.
じゃあ明日はちゃんとリカちゃんのために予定を空けておこう。それでいいかい？
He made a suggestion, taking a notebook out of his coat, going over his other appointments. I nodded and said I agreed. Damn! I am really interested to find out what will happen, but that will have to be on Sunday. For now, I think that's a good place to save here.
リカちゃん。
Is this the end? I think it should be the end of stream, yes. Here. You should be able to finish next stream. Great. That's great. And then we'll be done with Higurashi. It's been a long... I'm really enjoying this a lot, though. This what if scenario. This is very interesting to me right now. Like, because it's the first time... Because, like, one of the things I wish Higurashi did more was, I know you just finished gooning Z. I know, I'm sorry. Was Rika. Because Rika, like, was barely present in Higurashi, the first couple things. And I think it would have, like, she would have added a very interesting element. I understand why she's not, like, very present. But, like, literally only in Chapter 7, she, like, starts to do some stuff, you know? In Chapter 5, she's there, like, a bit. But, like, that's really it. And Chapter 6 as well, she's there a bit. But, like... she's rarely there. I wish she was there more, because I think she is one of the most interesting characters. It's whatever. Okay. That'll be it for me, then. Maybe to slip through what she really is. But I feel like, you know, that's the point, though, no? Like, that she would be trying to hint to people what she really is, but nobody believes her. I feel like that would have been a... Because, like, maybe the people that she tells everything to would be people who, like, had the virus or whatever, you know, had the Hinamizoa syndrome. But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, the way it's done is the way it's done. I just wish they had Rika more prominently. But, yeah, whatever. Okay, that'll be it from me, then. Thank you for everyone who stopped by the stream. I appreciate it, and I'll be back with more Higurashi on Sunday. And I will not be streaming for the next 2 days. So tomorrow, day after, no stream. Saturday will be Roblox. So yes. Okay. Goodbye, everyone.